to really say that's lamina propria and that's submucosal, because as we said, an absence of a muscularis mucosae. The glandular tissue, the glands of the pharynx, the pharyngeal glands, these are found deeper within. And these glands, we said, tend to what? Pass between what? The muscle bundles. You know, maybe now when you go in the exam, I can see where you can get maybe a little slip up. And there, where is the slip up? That you may think that this is the tongue. Because what are we seeing in the tongue? In the tongue we're seeing lots of skeletal muscle running in different directions, okay? Glandular tissue going down, yes. But the main difference primarily would be what? That there are no papillae. Okay? We get no papillae at all. Alright. But you may say, well, Mr. Gardner, in the posterior third of the tongue, there are no papillae. Alright. So what is the defining point? Lymphatics. Alright? That if they're setting you on a slide in the exam for the posterior third of the tongue, it must show lymphoid tissue. And those are the lingual tonsils. Okay? So we need to define between all of these things. So as I said, there is the overlying epithelium. I would think that 99% of the slides that we have of the pharynx are taken either from the oropharynx or the laryngopharynx. Now if we go across to the side here, just go across to the side here, I think I was seeing what appears to be, yes, the palatine tonsil. Alright? So this is the palatine tonsil that we're seeing to the side right here, on the side. And in the palatine tonsil, not a fantastic slide of the palatine tonsil, but the palatine tonsil has its own particular features. What are the features that tell you that's palatine tonsil? 1, the epithelium, stratified squamous. 2, the presence of lymphoid tissue. Okay, lots of lymph nodules. Okay, the presence of lymph nodules. 3, skeletal. Oh gosh. 3 what? Skeletal muscle. 3 would be skeletal muscle, and then we have a hemicapsule. So let me go through those points. Sorry, just disturbed you. 1, the epithelium, stratified squamous. 2, lymphoid tissue. 3, skeletal muscle. 4, glandular tissue. And 5, a hemicapsule. Okay? So 5 distinguishing features. So in the palatine tonsil, not seen very well on this slide here, but you can see to some degree that there is what is referred to as a, and it's not a full capsule, it's what is referred to as a hemicapsule. Alright? And it is said that this hemicapsule really is your pharyngobacillar fascia. Okay? So there is what's referred to as a hemicapsule. Okay? Unlike a lymph node will have, it's completely encapsulated. The palatine tonsil only has a partial capsule. And these are the lymph nodules that we see here. And there is the stratified squamous epithelium. Now, sometimes the stratified squamous epithelium now is not like what you'd see in the textbook. In most of the slides that we see here, the lymphoid tissue, the lymphocytes are literally as if they were just passing through the stratified squamous epithelium. So it sort of, in some way, confuses the normal cytoarchitecture of stratified squamous. If we look over at this part here, right here, you see that's classic stratified squamous epithelium. But as we trace it and come down here, you can see the lymphocytes are literally passing through. Alright, so just infiltrated there with lymphocytes. But that's, yes? Go ahead. It is said, some authors say, formed by your pharyngobacillar fascia. Alright, but that's a bit controversial. But the hemicapsule that occurs on that, said, as I said, by some to be by the pharyngobacillar fascia. Alright. So there we see now the stratified squamous epithelium associated with lymphoid tissue, and then, unfortunately, this thing, glandular tissue. The glands are very, very small right here. There are usually many more glands than this. But there we see some more glandular tissue right here, and a lot of skeletal muscle. Okay? So skeletal muscle, lymphoid tissue, stratified squamous epithelium, and a hemicapsule, a partial capsule. These are some of the distinguishing features of the palatine tonsil. Now, let's get into the esophagus. So we looked at the pharynx for a little. Let's get into the esophagus here. But let me pick up another slide of the pharynx. Let's look at a couple different slides. And I'm going to see if I find a couple more of the palatine tonsil too. I think I have about one or two more slides of the palatine tonsil. Okay, there's this slide of it. I took out 3 other slides of the palatine tonsil. Let me look at these here. Just 3 other slides before I get into the esophagus and pharynx. I think this slide was fantastic, but missing in some features. Alright, so this was a really hot-looking palatine tonsil, but when I looked at it, there were certain things that were obviously missing. Okay, so there you see. Mass of what? Lymphoid tissue. A partial capsule outside. So partially encapsulated. Alright? The epithelium there. So there you see the glandular tissue. Alright? The glandular tissue. Alright? Some stratified squamous epithelium. Alright, that's right here. Okay, so these are the tonsillar crypts. So this would be one example of one of the tonsillar crypts that we're seeing right here. Okay, so there are the many lymph nodules that we're seeing right here. Many lymph nodules. Okay, and also, as we said, associated with stratified. The hemicapsule is going right around it here. Let's trace it down here. All right. That's the partial capsule that's surrounding it. Okay. And sending a few trabeculae in right here, as you can see. Okay. So that's another example of the palatine tonsil. Let me look at this slide here. Because we need to look at different ones. So this was not a very good slide, as you can see. Not a very good slide. And the last one, just looking at it macroscopically, doesn't look to be such a good slide over the palatine. Okay, no, not at all. This is really very poor.